gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good.
Wake up! Yep, it's that time again. Vape AM, brought to you by Vapers1.com. I'm your host, Anthony Ramella. It's Wednesday, guys. Hump day. We got 1 day left until the holiday. Tomorrow is 4th of July, so I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be off. Vapers1.com, we won't be off. We'll still be running the website, so if you need stuff, be sure to get over there and get something. Stores will be open till like 4 o'clock today, so if you're in town, and you need something, just jump on over there. They'll be there till like 4 o'clock if you need something. And I know there's some really good sales in the stores. I'm not going to talk about them here. You're going to have to go in the stores and find out. But I know there's some really good sales on stuff out there. All right, guys, like we normally do, let's get on to some history and birthdays and some news, because I'm sure that's why you tuned in today. So a little fun history for today. In 1968, the lowest temperature ever recorded in Cleveland in July, 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So we deal with some weird weather in this part of the country. It's funny, sometimes I've seen days where it snowed in the morning, was 85 degrees by noon, and it was raining or hailing by the evening. So it's just a weird part of the country that we live in. I think the year that I got married, it actually snowed in the summertime here. So it's just one of those weird things that happens. So just, a little fun history for today, nothing really heavy. All right, well, let's get on to some birthdays. There's some pretty good ones for us today. So Elle King, which is a pop singer that I am a huge fan of. I like some of these grittier women that actually sing some bluesy type of music, so I'm a really big fan of Elle King. Olivia Munn's birthday is also today. Those of you that don't know her, she was in one of the X-Men movies, so she is a really great actress, and she's done other things. I also watch another show called The Newsroom that she's on, which is kind of almost like a West Wing type show written by Aaron Sorkin, so she's a really great actress. But last and certainly not least, probably the most interesting guy on today's birthdays, Tom Cruise's birthday is today. So just a few birthdays for you. Tom Cruise is 56 years old today. Wow. He looks pretty good for being 56 years old, and he's still getting it done out there. I'm sure we'll have, one more Mission Impossible retirement style or something like that they'll be doing. So him and Sylvester Stallone should probably do that together. Anyway, just having a little fun with you guys this morning. All right, so before we get into the dirty here, so it's time to do some Wake and Vape news. I never run out of stories, which is the craziest part about this. It seems like every city and state has their own thoughts about what should happen with e-cigarettes, and this is probably one of the worst ones right here. So we're going to talk about Vermont today a little bit. So new restrictions on e-cigarettes are now in effect in Vermont, but vape shops say it's hurting their bottom lines. It's more than hurting their bottom lines. It's causing these stores to absolutely close. Now, I know in Pennsylvania recently they had a pretty large wholesale tax. I think it was like 40%. It closed like half of the vape shops in Pennsylvania because they just could not handle that much of an increase in tax. So Vermont thought, well, we want to keep these businesses here, so we're going to implement a 92% wholesale tax in Vermont. And it basically says the three new laws include a 92% tax on all cigarette products and a heavy restriction on online sales of e-cigarettes and raising the legal age from 18 to 21. This is a heavy restriction on online sales. Basically, getting something online and having it sent to Vermont right now is pretty much impossible. Now, I did a couple of live shows over the weekend, this previous weekend, and we talked a little bit about this, and I do know that some companies, even overseas before that was legal to actually send this stuff, were sending them in like discreet kind of stealth packaging. I hate that's what we have to get to. One of the guys was saying that one of the packages you got said something about like sensual oils was what in there. I think they do stuff like that so the post people don't want to dig into those packages because they don't want to see what's in there. I figure devices will probably come as adult toys or something like that is what you'll probably see here in the future. I hate this. I don't want to have to go underground for this. This is a harm reduction product that actually works, and the only reason that you're seeing these kinds of restrictions is a couple of things. Number one thing, and by far the number one thing, is just ignorance. And I don't mean that as a put down. I just mean that as you've got to get some understanding about this. You've got to get some knowledge about this. But the number two thing, I think, and most importantly, these states that are putting some of these things into place are trying to get people to go back to smoking cigarettes because that's where the tax money is for them. It also gets them that MSA money, and if you aren't familiar with that, look at some of my older videos. I go into pretty depth on some of those items. But this is ridiculous. This artisan vape company that actually is out of Vermont, they were able to get on to one of the news channels and actually talk about this a little bit. But the one thing that he said that really stuck out to me was that he had written letters and called and done all these things and just asked for an audience in front of some of these health officials so that he could say his point of view about this, to give them some knowledge about this, what's about vaping, and he was completely refused. They just would not talk to him. Now, why would they do that? Why would you not want both sides of this argument to make sure that you're making the best decision for the people that live in your state? Vermont just doesn't care. They just want this, they want a demolition man society, and that's what they're trying to strive for. I don't want to live there, and I would encourage people that are vapors to stay away from Vermont, because a 92% tax is insane. I mean, imagine having to go to the grocery store, and because you like to buy a sugary soft drink, you have to pay 92% tax on that. And I'm telling you guys, this is where it's going, because they've already done this in San Francisco. And if you don't believe me, do a little research and find out for yourself. All right, guys, I love you. I don't want to take a lot of your time today because I know you're probably getting wound up for the holiday that's coming up. Be safe out there with your fireworks. Don't be lighting fireworks with your e-cigarette. Let's just not give him any more ammo for something stupid like that. I hate that I even have to say that, but please, be careful with your e-cigarettes, especially around the fireworks stuff, because those coils could get hot enough probably to ignite one of those. So just be safe, okay? I love you guys. I am going to do a show for tomorrow. My show for tomorrow is actually going to be a little bit more lighthearted, just to kind of encourage people that have relatives over about, that smoke and things like that. Maybe I can give you a little bit of information, and maybe if they hear it from me, they'd be willing to kind of step out there and maybe try it, make the switch over to vaping and get away from those harmful cigarettes. I love you guys. Here at Vape AM, like we always say, stop smoking or you're gonna die. All right? We're gonna come to you again tomorrow, like I said, with a more lighthearted show so you can kind of show your relatives and it's not so deep into the news. Just gonna be a little bit more fun, but I am gonna still tell you guys the truth. So have a great rest of the day, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow.